Hello, I'm Wynne Hanner, having a conversation with Suzy Peltier, author of The Wisdom of the Seasons, A Guide to Wicca, the Chakras, and the Tao. Suzy is a Taoist Wiccan priestess, Reiki master, massage therapist, hypnotherapist, instructor, and a reverend with the Universal Life Church. We are going to be discussing Suzy's book concepts and the unique principles of her life work. Welcome. This is part 1 of a 3-part conversation. Hello, Suzy. How are you?
Thank you. Welcome. Welcome
Thank
to
you.
all of you.
Thank you. First off, Suzy, let's start by discussing the basic concepts of Wicca. For instance, if you were coaching a new student who is interested in learning about the Wiccan tradition, what basic concepts would you introduce or address?
Wicca is a nature worship, and it's been around since humanity began. Most indigenous peoples practice some kind of shamanism, practice some kind of honoring of the earth spirits or the sky spirits or the rock people or the plant people and so forth. And when you go back thousands and thousands of years, you didn't have the capacity to be so removed from nature. You had to watch nature's patterns carefully because your survival depended upon it. And today I believe that's very relevant because ecology has what they call the Gaia effect, which is an earth goddess, which says the planet is a living, breathing planet. So I believe there's a relevancy to Wicca as a way of reconnecting to nature, a way of honoring nature and ourselves as part of nature, not superior to nature, as stewards of nature, part of nature. And the practice of Wicca is to stay in touch with our divine nature, or to plug us into that divine nature. So we use various tools to do that. We use ritual as a big tool, meditation, chanting, anything that activates the senses would encourage a transition into the right brain, through the right brain into the superconscious, where you can access kind of where all things are known.
You've maintained your present Taoist Wicca circle for approximately 18 years. And what inspired you to start the circle in the first place?
Well, I have a holistic health degree from New College, and they were constantly talking about shamans and medicine people as being the first clergy and being responsible for healing the individual. But that there was a collective community effort in that way, and that it was the shaman that galvanized the community through ritual. And I looked around, and we're pretty much basically void of a lot of rituals. Our coming of age, the kids go out and get drunk. We may have spontaneous outpourings, such as what we saw when Lady Diana passed away, the many flowers, or when 9/11 happened. But for the most part, there's something in our being that craves ritual. And we've boiled it down to a 30-minute funeral and then awake afterward. And then the person's supposed to be shoved back into the world. So ritual, I think, being absent from the culture makes us crave community, and we make it in different ways. I think that's anthropologically at the bottom of a lot of gangs. That we have gangs showing aberrant ritual behavior. In other words, they do elaborate rituals of initiation, for example, because there's a craving for ritual and a craving for belonging. So, and I saw rampant low self-esteem, just among my friends and myself. These were people, we got it pretty good, and so why do we feel so down on ourselves? And so I'm kind of the hub of the wheel, and I got a bunch of friends together who wouldn't know each other otherwise through me, and they all agreed to humor me and play the game. They just said, tell us what to say and why we're saying it. And so I began writing these little rituals based on, at first I pulled out a few books, and some of them rang truer than others. Starhawk's Spiral Dance, the 10th anniversary, was the one that I relied most upon for the meaning of the Sabbats. And then I riffed the rituals out of my own imagination and channeling and meditation and so forth. And over the years, the people who come to the rituals have brought traditions, little bits of traditions that have become incorporated into our style. So I didn't mean to start a tradition. It just worked out that way. Because the books didn't agree, and I was a healer on a mission. I really wanted to see how it was the shamans were effective, because they were using it all over the world. So it had to be working, or they'd have tossed it long ago. So how did it work? And so I took my massage therapy training, and I went to be trained as a hypnotherapist so that I could understand more about trance, because you gain transcendence through trance of some kind or another. And you need some vehicle to train, to cross over, go beyond where your consciousness says there's a barrier, so that you can get into your subconscious, break through, and into your superconscious.
Very interesting.
Thank you.
Let's further discuss your holistic approach to the blending of Taoist and Wiccan traditions.
Wicca has sects like Buddhism or denominations like Christianity. And because there are lots of worldwide myths to choose from, myths from very different cultures, and now we have access to them. At first, Wicca was the tattered remains of the shamanic traditions belonging to the decimated European tribes when Christianity took over. But over the years, of the last 100 years, we've been able to really blossom, because we're learning more about the Native Americans and the East Indian traditions, and Hindu and Buddhism, and and some of the Caribbean traditions, Santeria and so forth. So one thing is that sets this apart is it's a coaching system, and I'll get back to that in a moment. But it's also an interfaith tradition. So if someone has a favorite deity, even Jesus or Mary, and they want to come to the circle, they can call Jesus and Mary, that's fine. And meanwhile, somebody else may call Ganesha, and somebody else may call Kuan Yin. So it's come as you are, come with the patrons and deities you have, play along. And and everybody, the assumption for that whole afternoon is that you're divine. That you're there to let your divinity show.
Let's further discuss the holistic approach to blending Taoist Wicca principles.
Well, actually, Wicca is, whether you talk about Taoist Wicca or talking about Wicca in general, they're holistic traditions, meaning they believe body, mind, and spirit reflect each other, that they communicate with each other, and they synergize with each other. So if you have a disharmony on one, they sit like mirrors. So if you have a disharmony on one level, it's going to mirror on and show itself on other levels. That's why what develops as a heartache then hardens into a heart attack. So chi moves through the body, and the chakras are vortexes. So you have two different systems, but they're saying basically the same thing. They're teaching you about how vital energy moves. And a corollary of holistic health is this vital energy. So many systems, Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, lots of different systems assume a vital life force within you. It's the difference between a living oak tree and an oak table. So science is constantly cutting up the frog, dissecting it to try to find the chi, and they can't find the chi, and the frog's dead. And then they wonder why they can't find the chi.